Hi and welcome back everyone. So for our third exercise, we have received an email. Can you show me a breakdown of sales, but also show their credit limit? But they want us to group the credit limits to see a high level view to show if we get higher sales for customers who have a higher credit limit. So let's have a look at the query. Okay, so if you remember from our entity relationship diagram, you can see here we have a credit limit column in our customers table. So what we'll want to do is bring in the order details to get the value of the order, and then our customers table as well to show the credit limit. So just in MySQL Workbench, I'll open a new query, and the first thing I'll do then is bring back all columns from our orders table. And before I just display the output, I'm going to inner join order details. I'll just give each table an alias, and we'll join them on the order number. I'll give the same alias to the second table. Okay, so now we have each order broken down by product. Now we want to bring in the customers table. So let's just click on our customers table. So we have the customer number as its primary key. Now in our orders table, we also have customer number. So we can then inner join the customers table. We'll name it T3 on T1 dot customer number equals T3 dot customer number. And now we'll have all customer details as well whenever we run this. And on the very right hand side, we have the credit limit. So that is the column that we'll use along with our order details. So rather than displaying all columns, we'll bring in the order number. But we also want to display the customer number and the product code. And since this is an ambiguous column, we'll just need to reference which table we're bringing it from. Product code, and then we want the price quantity as well, both columns. So just to get the value, and then the credit limit. I may have another ambiguous column here, order number. So again, I'll just bring it from T1. Okay, now we have all our columns that we need. So what we'll do, we'll bring credit limit into its own new row, and we'll add a column here for price each multiplied by quantity ordered, just to get the sales value. Price each star quantity ordered, and we'll name that column sales value. Just bring a comma in. So now we have the sales value. So I would like a view which shows the order number and the total sales value. We don't need to see the product breakdown anymore. So to do that, we need to query from this table and only bring back the order number, customer number, we'll bring the credit limit, and then we'll sum the sales value. So to do that, we'll just create a CTE again. We'll name it sales. And then we will bring back order number, customer number, credit limit, which we're going to group as well, but first we'll just get the sales value, and then sum of sales value, and we'll just name that again sales value. And we're querying from the sales table, and we need to group by our first three non-aggregate columns. Okay, so now we have each order number, customer number, the credit limit of the customer, and the value of that sale, of that order. Okay, so from here we can now group our credit limit. So I'm just going to bring it into its own column. And to do that, we use case when. So I'll just delete this comma for now. So case when credit limit is, we will do less than 75,000. Then we want to return, and I'm going to label these with a letter first, just so they're in order. So A, less than 75k. So we'll only do 4 groupings, and then we'll add an other just in case we made a mistake. So when credit limit, I'll just copy above, credit limit is between 75,000 and 100,000, then 75k to 100k. So I'm just going to copy this, and we'll just change the output to be 100 to 150. And then 100k to 150k, but just remember to change this to a C. And then for our final one will be everything over 150,000. Then D over 150k. And then close quotation marks. And then just remember our else other. And we'll name that credit limit underscore group. Okay, so now we just have to change what we're grouping by to the new column name, credit limit group. And if we execute this, and now it's grouped. Okay, so let's copy this data into Excel by just clicking on the left and the top corner again, Control and C, and we'll just open a new sheet here. Match destination formatting, and then I'll just delete this column and double click to make the width bigger. And then we can, I'll just rename this sheet first. Credit limit grouped. And now we can insert a pivot table again. And I'm going to keep it in the same sheet again, so we don't have too much data. So we can have a couple of views here. We can just look at the credit limit group and the sum of the sales value. Let's just view this in dollars, so we'll just highlight it all, and in our home page we'll just change it to dollars. So yeah, most of the sales have come from people with credit limits of 75 to 100k, but this might be because most our orders were made, or most our customers have this credit limit. So we would, to give it a fair view, we would want to take a percentage, but let's just show it as a bar chart first. I'll just delete our title and legend again, and we could even delete our grid lines. We just have to click into one and just hit delete. Yeah, what I would like to do then is just insert 2 more pivot tables just below this view, and so I will want to count the order number. based on the credit limit. So not a sum, not count distinct, we want to count them. And now, actually we won't need a second pivot table because we can get an average sales value by just dividing the count of order number by the total sales value. So let's just, I'll do equals just our sell value just to view this grouping, and then we can just drag it down, and beside it we can just get the average. So let's create a calculation equals the sum of the sales value, and we divide this by the count of sales. Okay, so this was the average sales value for this credit group customers. So it hasn't actually, it's used the same calculation when I drag down, so we'll just have to write them out again based on the column below, but that's fine. So we just do it 3 more times. And now we have a more accurate view, I believe. So I'm just going to copy Control and C and then just paste the values so that the formulas are removed. And let's just change these to dollars just up in the top, and we'll just give the columns headers. So credit limit and average sales value per order. And then we could insert a chart here, so it's actually not what we would expect. So it looks like the average goes up as the credit limit goes up, but once we hit the final one, it actually drops. It's still higher than the first two, but our 100 to 150k customers seem to have a higher average of sales value per order. So if we just highlight these table, we can insert another bar chart which just shows the average now. And then you could change the fill of this color to be whatever you like as well. Okay, I hope that made sense. I might just change this color. I like the lighter colors. Yeah, something like this. Just to highlight that they're different. And then we could give this chart above a title as well. So you can just click add chart title, and we could change it to be total sales value. Okay, so the top chart is a pivot chart. That's why we have the filters here. But the bottom one isn't. It comes from a table that we created ourselves. We could also add data labels if we like, just plus data labels. So yeah, just to stand out, what's the highest is 38,000. Okay, so in the next video we will work on our 4th exercise. So I'll see you there.